Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, the top 10 NFL free agents that Tom Brady, John Spytek, and the Las Vegas Raiders need to target this offseason. Let's face the facts here. We got needs at basically every single flipping position. There are so many players that I probably could have put in this top 10 list. And it was, out of all the years I've done this show, this might have been the most difficult year I've ever had trying to figure out who the hell should be the top 10 players that we should target. Now, here's the good news. Whether you look at over the cap, whether you look at Spotrac, the Silver and Black have over $100 million to be able to spend. And I've said it a bunch, and you're going to see a bunch of guys that win in the trenches, because if there's one area where I am willing to overspend this offseason, it's for guys that put their hand in the dirt. And if you feel that statement right there, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be making so many, and I mean so many free agency videos starting to lead up. I know we got the number 1 overall pick. The draft's in April. Free agency's in March. Coaching shit's going to be going down in January and February. This is going to be the craziest, and I mean the craziest Raiders offseason that I have ever been a part of. And if you want to join this community, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you pull up, because it's going to be a hell of a time. Now, these are going to be ranked from 10 all the way down to 1. The number 1 player is the number 1 guy I want the Raiders to go out and get. Coming in here at number 10, I'm going to go with offensive guard Alijah Vera-Tucker. Last season, played for the New York Jets, or I guess I should say he did not play for the Jets. He unfortunately tore a triceps, and that forced him to miss the entire season. In 5 years, Vera-Tucker has played in 43 games, but he has missed 41. I know a lot of people are throwing out that he's injury-riddled, and it's not totally false. But there is a part of me that wonders, is the MetLife Stadium turf, is MetLife Stadium maybe the reason why he has suffered some of these injuries? Because when you go back and you look at his USC days, I don't necessarily remember all these injuries popping up. He can play left guard. He can play right guard. He also played a little bit of offensive tackle from time to time, but the Raiders need help on the O-line. And there might be a team that gives him $19 million per year, because when he was coming out of USC, he was one of my favorite offensive line prospects. Though, there could be a team that could be a little bit worried about him. Some of y'all are going, well, man, Mitch, why are we trying to go out and spend money on a guy that's always injured? Because I believe in Caleb Rogers, because I believe in Jordan Meredith, and if Alijah Vera-Tucker's your starter, well then, hopefully you're able to bring back Jordan Meredith, and then you got Caleb there, who I think Caleb Rogers can be a good 6-man on the offensive line. Jordan Meredith can also be a good 67-man in that rotation. So if Vera-Tucker goes down, you can rely on Caleb Rogers to get a start in, because in 2024, he played in 916 snaps, had a 77.7 overall grade. 74.5 pass blocking, 76.3 run blocking. I have watched a lot of tape on Alijah Vera-Tucker, and if it shows that he's ready to rock and roll, that's going to be somebody that I'm interested in. Let's go to number 9 here in our free agent targets video. It's going to be Connor McGovern, center guard, played for the Buffalo Bills last season. Now, if you go out and you get Connor, there needs to be a conversation of, do I want to have him play center and let JPJ play guard? Or do you have JPJ play center and McGovern then end up playing guard? Because I will admit, I think that he's done a better job at center than offensive guard, but he can play right side, he can play the left side. Back-to-back seasons in Buffalo, 0 sacks allowed. That's a hell of a stat line. And it's also a hell of a mustache. The Spotrac market value for McGovern is $16.2 million. I am all in and doing everything I possibly can to upgrade this line. According to PFF, played in over 1,000 snaps last season. Had the overall grade. I know Rebel's going to love it. 69.1. The pass blocking, the run blocking. He has done a better job in terms of pass protection as a center from top to bottom. But overall, I believe in upgrading this offensive line. And if you feel the exact same way, make sure you click that like button. Now, before we get in to the 8th player on my list here of who I want the Raiders to go out and get, a quick word from our sponsor, Polymarket. It's time to challenge the status quo. Polymarket is now live to help us do so. You can be part of the revolutionary alternative to Sportsbook with our special invite code. Download Polymarket's new app now via the link that is in the description and comments to unlock exclusive early access and a free $10 in your account with the invite code chat. Polymarket is a prediction marketplace and lets you make trades on the outcomes of sporting events, which you guys can see right up over here. You can even buy and sell within a game with live trading. Polymarket has the lowest fees ever. You can trade against other people, not the platform. You can cash out anytime and react to momentum swings within the game. You are in control. It's legal and available nationwide in all 50 states on their iOS app now. For this week's Texans game, Polymarket is giving Houston a 60% chance to win. I'm on the Texans this week because I believe they will be able to get after 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers. $10 free is waiting for you. No card, no deposit, nothing. Download the app with our exclusive code chat at chatsports.com/polymarket for exclusive early access and $10 free. Let's go to the next player here in our Raiders free agent target, sponsored by Polymarket. I'm going to go with Jamel Dean, cornerback, played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past season, 29 years old, has the connection to John Spytek from his time down there and Tampa. Now, I will admit this, he's never played more than 15 games in a season in 7 years, but when he's on the field, dude, he's one of the better corners in the NFL. He allowed a 46.9 passer rating against him in 2025, which is unbelievable. His Spotrac market value is $12.6 million per year. In my world, I would love for the Raiders to try to re-sign Eric Stokes. If you could also bring back a dude like Jamel Dean, I think that also does make some sense. Yes, I want to see what Darian Porter has to offer, but for me, Dean, with the connection, he's a hell of a football player. 9 PBUs, 3 interceptions last season. But because he knows, I think, what Spytek is looking for and what this defense needs to create, we need an identity. And Jamel Dean can help us get that identity back in the secondary. Let's go to number 7 here on my list, offensive tackle from the Colts, Braden Smith. Now, I want to be very, very clear. The only reason why I got Smith ranked at number 7 is because he is the top offensive tackle in this year's free agency class. And if you are confident in DJ Glaze, and if you are confident in Charles Grant, I believe in Grant more than I do Glaze, well then I don't even know if you need to put Braden Smith on this list. If you're sitting up here going, Mitch, I don't trust Charles Grant or DJ Glaze, well then that's why Braden Smith makes the top 10. He's one of the hardest players for me to evaluate right now for the Raiders because he does have a lot of starts underneath his belt. 105 starts since 2018. The market value is at $13.5 million. There will be some people that'll say, I don't trust those 2 young players. If it was up to me, I would roll with Charles Grant at right tackle. But then that means I'm going to spend a little bit of extra money on the interior offensive line. If you're unable to maybe go out and get the guy that I got at number 1 or the guy that I got coming up here at number 3, Braden Smith might be a player that you got to keep an eye on. And then who knows? Maybe you can kick DJ Glaze into the inside or even Charles Grant into the inside. Let's go to number 6 here, and it's going to be Odafe Oweh, outside linebacker, edge rusher for the Chargers. I'll be real. I look at him as more a true edge. I look at him as more as just being able to go out and get after the quarterback. And if you want to be able to find a young dude who can be that Malcolm Kuntz replacement, here he is. You guys know I'm a Penn Stater. I grew up in the 570. I watched him a ton, and he was a hell of a player for the Nittany Lions. 38 tackles last season in the AFC West. 18 quarterback hits, 9 tackles for loss. When you look at his numbers the past 2 seasons, 17.5 sacks. We need to be able to find somebody that can help out Max Crosby on the other side. I think he would be a phenomenal replacement for Malcolm, and I'm curious to see if the Raiders end up bringing Kuntz back. But if it was up to me, would I rather spend $15 to $20 million on Odafe, or would I rather go out and spend $8 million on Malcolm? At this point, we need to be able to get north and south, get after the QB. I'll spend the extra money if it helps us win in the trenches. So you tell me. It's what the Raiders Report here is all about. I got 5 more players coming up here in just a moment. But if you could sign only one, and I mean only one guy, who would it be? For me, that guy at number 1 on today's show, I'd almost write him a blank check. If you've ever seen the movie Blank Check, Spam blank check down below. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. You're about to get it with a YouTube ad break, though. Scrolling down, tell me, number one free agent you want the Raiders to sign. Let's go to number 5 here on my list. It's going to be linebacker Devin Lloyd. And I believe Devin Lloyd is the number one linebacker on the open market, and I don't really think that you're going to get too many people that disagree with that take. He's coming off a career year. There's been a lot of eyeballs on Trevor Lawrence in that offense, but Lloyd deserves tons and tons of credit for what he's been able to do on the defensive side of the football. And, man, I loved watching that 99-yard pick six that he had on Patrick Mahomes. I'll tell you that right now. But he can blitz. He can get after the quarterback. He can stop the run. And he can drop back and he can cover. If you're telling me I got to pay him $19.9 million, it is a little bit pricey for a linebacker. But when you have a guy that can do everything, that's critical. Plus, on top of that, all of our linebackers are free agents. Jamal Adams, Devin White, Landon Roberts. I believe in Tommy Eichenberg, and I believe in Cody Lindenberg, but those two guys are young, man. And if you want to rely on two young linebackers, give them somebody that's got a lot of experience like a Devin Lloyd, because Lloyd is somebody that's going to fill up a stat sheet with numbers that matter. Unlike Devin White, who's going to fill up a stat sheet with a bunch of stats and people are going to go, wow, this guy's having a career year, 174 tackles. Wow, that's a Raiders record. I don't care. Devin White was horrific this past season. If you want to be able to rely on some of those younger linebackers, and if you want to be able to go out and spend big-time money in other areas, I think if you went out and you signed Lloyd, it would really, really help the middle of this defense. Let's go to number 4 here on my free agent targets list, Alec Pierce. And the more and more I watch this guy, the more and more I almost want to put him higher on the list. Who out there wants the Raiders to draft a Fernando Mendoza? Who out there wants the Raiders to draft a rookie quarterback? If you're saying me, Mitch, I do, well, then you should really want Alec Pierce. He, to me, is the number one wide receiver in free agency. And some of you might be surprised by that statement, but to me, Trey Tucker's young. Dante Thornton Jr. is young. Jack Besh is young. There's not a lot of wide receiver talent in this room. And for Pierce, he's only 26 years old. But in my mind, he is literally the perfect fit for what this offense is going to try to do. I want a wide receiver that can stretch the field with speed. I want a wide receiver that can run a bunch of different routes. And I want a dude that's not afraid to block. And not only not afraid to block, loves to hit a mother effer in the face. It kills me, dude. Kills me that we let Jakobi Meyers go, and it doesn't surprise me that he's doing his thing in Jacksonville. If you could hit the upgrade button on a younger version of Jakobi Meyers, bingo, bango. He looks a lot like Alec Pierce. 6'3", 211 pounds. He had 47 grabs, over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. And I'm telling you this right now. He is a great fit in this offense. He might not be a number one wide receiver on a lot of other teams, but when you got Brock Bowers as your true number one, Alec Pierce is a hell of a number 2, and he would be a beautiful safety blanket for a young quarterback. Let's go to number 3 here in my free agent targets video presented by Polymarket. David Edwards, offensive guard for the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to say that Edwards is the top offensive guard out on the market, and he's going to get paid, man. Not a doubt in my mind, he is going to get paid. He played 2,007 snaps at left guard the past 2 seasons and has allowed 3 sacks in total. So 3 sacks in 2025, 0 sacks in 2024, but it's about the physicality. If we're going to build a brand of offense where you have your first-round pick in Ashton Genty, a first-round pick in Brock Bowers, let's freaking invest in the offensive line. I don't want to see Brennan Carroll's eyes rolling in the back of his head, because my eyes were rolling in the back of my head when Hondo Carpenter said that Brennan Carroll deserves to come back. Obviously, we're not going to bring Brennan Carroll back. Obviously, we got to upgrade this offensive line. And if it costs $19.9 million to do it, let's go out and let's break the bank here a little bit. Because the 71.4 overall PFF grade, it's not earth-shattering, but compared to what we've had on the offensive line, this is literally earth-shattering. Before we get into our top 2 players that I want the Raiders to go out and get, coming up here, the number 1 player that John Spytek and Tom Brady need to avoid in free agency like the plague. I'm going to tell you who that player is here after this YouTube ad break. Some people might be surprised, but I am saying up here, do not sign George Pickens. George Pickens, from a talent standpoint, might be the best player in free agency. I think he's top 10 wide receiver in terms of talent. but there's no way in hell I'm going to give a dude that gives up on plays as often as George Pickens does in a contract year. You're telling me Pickens, who he didn't make it in Pittsburgh because he didn't want to block. If you don't want to block, you have no business being on the Raiders. And there's no way I'm giving Pickens $30 million per year to be a part of this organization. He's a diva, he's a crybaby, and I want nothing to do with him. If the Raiders went out and got him, I would be fired up because of how talented he is. But if I would really think we're going to sit here and go, that's Antonio Brown 2.0. And I don't want to get burned by Antonio Brown 2.0. I've already dealt with the cryotherapy. Let's go to number 2 here. Defensive tackle John Franklin Myers. Now, some people consider him a DN. Some people consider him a defensive tackle. I look at him and I say, this guy can help us build our defensive line. And to me, he is the number 1 defensive lineman on the open market. And the fact that he's coming from the AFC West, our Denver Bronco rival, that just makes this a little bit more sweet. The Broncos defense is unbelievable. The Raiders also have Brian Stark as our assistant GM. He worked in Denver for many, many years and has worked with Franklin Myers as well. When you look at those numbers up on screen, the fact that he's got back-to-back seasons with 7+ sacks and 29 years old, Spotrac has his market value at only $7.5 million. I personally believe that that's a little bit low. Now, for Franklin, we need a Christian Wilkins replacement. And because we need a Wilkins replacement, we need to build that defensive line. Again, I am all about building in the trenches this offseason. John Spytek told me last year that he was going to build the trenches. Well, John, you failed to do it last year. You could say it's Pete's fault. I really want to give you a lot of kudos because you took a lot of lumps in that press conference. But now I don't want any excuses. I want to see a team that sticks to their guns and builds in the trenches. I want John Franklin Myers on this roster. But coming up here, number 1, the number 1 player that we need to go out and get. It is center from Baltimore, Tyler Linderbaum. And holy cow, I just got chills because thinking about Linderbaum on this team, he is a dominant run blocker. I would say he's a top 5 run blocking offensive lineman in the NFL as it stands right now. Spotrac has his market value at $17.7 million. Y'all know how much I love JPJ. Jackson Powers Johnson better be the center on this team in 2026, unless Linderbaum's going to be the center. Because if you put Linderbaum in the center and then you put JPJ next to him with a running back like Ashton Genty, I mean, it is literally a match made in heaven. I don't know if y'all have ever grown up watching the Mighty Ducks, but you got the brothers in there with knuckle puck time. They're just going out and beating the shit out of people. That's what Tyler Linderbaum and JPJ would end up doing. With 2 tight ends in Mayer and Bowers, there is not a better player on the planet that the Raiders could go out and get. And I saw the Spotrac market value at 17.7. If I'm the Raiders, I'd give them $25 million. And if you're like, man, that's a lot of money, $25 million for Linderbaum might be a lot of money. But don't look at it as you're just paying Tyler Linderbaum. Look at it as you're investing in Ashton Genty. You're investing in Brock Bowers. You're investing in a second-round pick in Jack Besh, a young receiver in Trey Tucker, another young draft pick in Michael Mayer. But you're also investing in the quarterback that you're probably going to take number 1 overall. I don't care what the number is. Tyler Linderbaum, here's a blank check. Write a number on it, and let's get this thing going in Las Vegas. So one more time, here are my top 10 Raiders free agent targets for the year of 2026. We got a lot of money. Let's go out and let's spend that money. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you want to tag me on IG and Twitter, you already know. You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'm at Mitchell Renz 365.